The SEC as a whole has a lot of quarterback turnover heading into the 2021 season. I want to take a few minutes to talk about some of the new starting quarterbacks, the new faces that we'll see, and who we think could potentially be the one that stands out of all of them. Because I think there's several good quality quarterbacks that are going to be starting for the first time this year. And before we dive into that, I want to talk about like kind of the four tiers or the three groups of quarterbacks that I kind of view in the SEC. I think we have the returning dudes, the guys that are for sure clear-cut starters. Matt Corral, JT Daniels, Connor Bazelak. We have Will Rogers, who started last year for Mississippi State, and then Bo Nix, of course, for Auburn. Will Rogers, I think you put into that competition thing, the competition tier, which we'll get to. And then I think with Bo Nix, I think there's some competition there, but I'd go ahead and put him in the starting role as well, at least at the beginning of the season. Then we have our for sure new starters with Bryce Young from Bama, Luke Doty, who's been named the starter for South Carolina, and of course, Emory Jones for Florida. Even if some of these guys haven't been named the starter yet, I think it's kind of safe to go ahead and label them the starter. And then where it really gets kind of funky or with a lot of turnover is the open competitions going on right now. So we have Tennessee will have a new starter. There's four guys there. Kentucky will have a new starter. There's three guys competing there. Vanderbilt new starter. A&M will have two guys competing for that starting job right now. Arkansas, KJ Jefferson will be the new starter this year. I believe that's what Sam Pittman has said. So I guess we can put him into the new starter role. And then we have LSU, of course, with Max Johnson and Miles Brennan. Even though both those guys have started a few games last year, I'm still going to put them in the new starter role for the sake of the video. And then we have Mississippi State, who we have Will Rogers returning, but Jack Abraham is going to give him a run for his money in that quarterback competition. So I think we have so much turnover, a lot of new starters. But I want to take a few minutes and talk about who I think could be the best new starter in the SEC. And so we have a few clips over each guy, just kind of comparing one or two plays from the guys we think will be the potential best new starters. We have four guys we're going to break down the film on. And if you're interested in any of the other film, we have deeper dives over each guy. But before we look at the video, I just want to encourage you to consider subscribing to our channel if you like any quarterback related content, film breakdowns, whatever it may be. As long as it's related to the quarterback position, it's fair game here. So let's go ahead and dive into the first clip. We're going to watch Emory Jones first. Then we're going to watch Bryce Young, Max Johnson, and KJ Jefferson are the four quarterbacks we're going to dive into today. Let's go ahead and watch Emory Jones. So here's a good example of the mismatch Jones will create here. We're going to see him take off for a good run here, nice simple run. But it's more than just the run that's impressive. It's the mismatch and just imagining the creativity and play calling that will be called with Dan Mullen this next year. So we're going to see we have man up top here, 3-on-3. We have man with backer to the running back. The running back comes out of the backfield. And we will see the man here. And then we also have man with Emory Jones. So we have a spy on him. So this backer has to account for Emory Jones. So essentially, it's Emory Jones versus him and Emory Jones versus the safety here. But we're not too worried about the safety because it's the fact he's 15 plus yards away. So the only person he has to beat is this backer. He already has him beat for the simple fact he's out of position, right? He makes that move with Emory Jones. Emory Jones has enough athletic ability and speed to get upfield, able to pick up a good first down there. I think a first down, regardless of big play. So here's a play I've shown in the past of Emory Jones. We're just going to see him hit the seam route here, throw it right between the zone, and just for the context of the play, remember Emory Jones is coming off the bench here, and so he is quote-unquote cold, if you will, hasn't had a chance to kind of get in the flow of the game. So I think it's a good pass, even though you can argue that it's thrown behind the receiver. He does a good job fitting it in the hole here. So I think this is just a good example of his ability to push the ball downfield. You always hear about his running ability, and even me, I've talked about creativity and creative plays to kind of get the defense out of alignment, which I think is going to be huge. But I think he does have the ability to make these type of throws here. Good job fitting it in the hole there. And then whenever he has a full game, I think we'll see even better throws as he gets in a rhythm. So spring game for Alabama. This is a long touchdown from Bryce Young to the tight end running the seam route. And what's impressive here, and remember it is a spring game, take the grain of salt, but his movement in the pocket, throwing from kind of an off-balance position, a different arm angle, a different arm slot, and throwing an accurate ball. But I think it's a good example of kind of his overall game here. Let's go ahead and watch it. Moves in the pocket, eyes downfield, able to kind of flick his wrist as he moves his hips. Maybe it's not a touchdown, maybe it is. Regardless, good job by Bryce Young there, and good example of what he will be bringing to the table for Alabama. So here's another one of my favorite throws from the spring game. And again, take it with a grain of salt. Spring game. It's probably a throw that went a little bit unnoticed because it's fairly simple, not super flashy, not a touchdown. But it's a throw that Alabama quarterbacks need to make, and most successful quarterbacks need to make. Is a deep out from the left hash to the right side of the field, outside the numbers here. Good long throw, demonstrating arm strength and ability to kind of anticipate when the receiver is breaking open. The receiver ends up dropping the ball, but I think it's just a good example of Bryce Young making a hard throw look pretty easy because it's a much tougher throw than it looks. Max Johnson has a very high football IQ, and I think this play is a pretty good example of it. And when you hear people kind of in the LSU weeds, if you will, talk about Max Johnson, what they're hearing is his football IQ and kind of the football savvy he has. So it's a good job, and something you've noticed if you watch those 2 games of him processing defense from pre-snap to post-snap. So this is a great example because it looks like one thing pre-snap, but turns into something that's post-snap. So let's see. We'll go see. So what it looks like pre-snap is probably like a cover 1, probably cover 3 potential. We got one safety here. We think this DB is going back. This DB is going back. Probably a cover 3, but it turns to be more of a cover 2 look as this safety goes this half. We have this. I believe this is the strong safety who bails this half, so it creates the middle of the field to be wide open. So his initial reads over here, it's not there. It comes back and throws a good ball to the middle of the field for a first down. We see the middle of the field gets wide open because safety bails, and then we got man concepts under and a zone under on the left side as well. Good ball by Max Johnson there, but it's a good job processing the defense pre-snap, and then how you process it to post-snap as well. I think it's a good read there. Initial read's not there. It comes back off to his backside target. Good ball there. So here's an example of probably what separates Max Johnson from Myles Brennan here. His ability to run, pick up space, pick up yards with his legs. Shows a good job, able to pick up a first down. So good, decent speed there. And he's a deceivingly good athlete here. And so I think this is potentially what separates him from Myles Brennan here. We see he makes one guy kind of miss as he goes to the outside. Good job blocking, able to beat him here, then gets upfield. It's just a good example of his athleticism and his lower half. So any Arkansas fans that have watched my KJ Jefferson breakdowns will know this is probably my favorite play of Jefferson because it's a good job demonstrating what he does well. His fork in the pocket, taking a hit, pushing it downfield, and moving the safety with his eyes. So we're going to see a deep out here and then even underneath. Not deep out. A deep post here, then an underneath crossing route. You'll see that KJ Jefferson moves the safety with his eyes to come here and is able to fit the ball behind the inside dig route. Good job with his eyes, moving the safety, throwing a strike downfield, and he takes a hit, right? He's on the ground, throwing a strike downfield to fit into tight space. We'll watch it from the behind the center angle because I think it probably gives the best view here. But just focus on Jefferson's eyes, and then notice he does take a hit. So he moves the safety out of position right now, steps up in the pocket, takes a little late hit after. So we see the safety, I'll go a little more. The safety moves up to cover here, right, because Jefferson moves him out of the way, and then he replaces the ball where the safety was. Great job by Jefferson with his eyes and showing his arm strength to push the ball downfield. One of my favorite throws. So again, just 1 to 2 clips kind of demonstrating what each guy does well. I'll let you kind of compare each guy and who you think will be the best new starter in the SEC. I think there's a few obvious candidates, but also some dark horses as well. And guys I left out, like the Tennessee quarterback room, the Kentucky quarterback room, even the A&M quarterback room, who could get some pretty good quarterback play because of their surrounding cast. But I think these kind of, in my opinion, the 4 or so front runners of who will be the best new quarterback in the SEC. But if I'm wrong, please let me know. Let me know in the comments below. Who do you think will be the best new quarterback in the SEC? What do you think separates each guy from each other? Let us know in the comments below. If you like the video, like it, subscribe, all that YouTube stuff, and we'll see you next time on our next quarterback-related video.